YouTube feed, I saw a video of someone who pointed this out, that there's a big trend going on in public schools of the whole furry thing becoming somewhat mainstream. And this is an awkward thing to talk about. Basically, well, the way I would describe it is these are people that are trying to exist at a level of an animal, essentially. So there's a lot of degeneracy associated with this. A lot of it's sexually oriented. And we're talking middle schools and high schools that this is being on public display. And the problem is that they're sort of like this quote-unquote minority. Now, you know, obviously this is a leftist. This is sort of one of those degenerate leftist things that is being pushed. And you know, and there's also cases where these so-called furry people have been physically assaulting people because, you know, obviously that creates conflicts and everything else. And then, of course, in the comments section of this YouTube video, people are saying things like, you know, we need to bring back bullying, you know. So in other words, you know, because these people are initiating force and obviously violating the rights of these people that are not a part of their community, we need to instead violate their rights, initiate force on them. I don't advocate for either one. I do advocate for self-defense. So if somebody is being assaulted by one of these furry people, they can absolutely fight back, and they should. And that gives a degree of accountability there. Maybe they won't attack people. But anyway, the issue is, and this is, again, this is a mental health issue. This is also an issue of our system of at every level, both high and low places. And I've said this time and time again, the issue is accountability, specifically to reasoning. You can't have mental health without considering logic and reasoning, or being accountable to logic and reasoning. And then on the other side of this, we got the likes of people like George Soros and people similar to this. We got these billionaires that are basically funding their quote-unquote communist utopia. Really what they're doing is they're deliberately destroying the country by promoting this stuff that they promote. I really hope that this trend just goes away. You know, people are fighting back at this, which is good. That does give some accountability. But the important thing is accountability to reason and rationality. The schools should not allow this. They should make a very clear policy. You know, when I was in school, we couldn't even wear hats. There were things you couldn't wear, flip-flops, you couldn't wear hats. There was a lot of things that you couldn't do. We had a dress code, and you would get a detention if you broke the dress code. As far as I can tell, at least some of these schools are not doing that. If you actually enforce some standards, that would obviously be a good start to fix this problem. But more than anything, I would really like to know what's going on with the parents, what's going on, where is this influence coming from? I'm sure it's probably influenced by TikTok. But anyway, there's a lot of nuances and details. I can go on tangents with that. But again, this is an issue about accountability to reasoning, logic and reasoning. That is the answer. You know, obviously, that's not coming from the left, and it's not really coming properly from the right. The right seems to kind of miss the mark with this because they're not getting at the essence of the problem. You know, they always, you know, go back to some other thing, you know, usually some mystical thing that really is, and you know, if you see it to fruition, is going to be just as bad in the long term, maybe even worse. You know, the right, you know, some people on the right, if they have it their way, they would revert back to the dark ages. The left, I mean, you're gonna revert back to the dark ages, you know, but by a different means. The solution is not totalitarianism. The solution is rationality. So anyway, that's my rant on that.